In the world of football, some clubs win trophies. And then there are clubs that build empires. Today, we're going to talk about a Brazilian giant, a club whose whole history is this incredible cycle of total dominance, huge sacrifice, and then glorious rebirth. This is the story of São Paulo FC, the Sovereign. So take a look at this crest. This is São Paulo Football Club. For millions of fans, this thing is a symbol of victory, of resilience, and a certain kind of football royalty. They're known as O Soberano, the Sovereign. And in this explainer, we're going to dig into exactly why.
I mean, it's one thing to have a cool nickname, right? But it's a whole other thing to actually earn it. São Paulo is also called Campeão de Tudo, which means the champion of everything. So how on earth do you get a title that bold? Well, you do it by conquering not just your own country and not just your continent, but the entire world.
So let's just start with this number, 3. And no, we're not talking about league titles or some local cup. This is the number of times São Paulo has been crowned the undisputed champion of the world. That right there, that's the foundation of their whole sovereign status. So how'd they do it? Well, they won 2 of the old Intercontinental Cups and then 1 FIFA Club World Cup. That kind of global success puts them in a super elite group, not just in Brazil, but all across South America. It's the ultimate reason they can claim to be the Sovereign. But to really understand the giant they are today, we've got to go all the way back to the beginning. So, a tricolor is born. The story of this giant begins in a really unique way. Not with one club, but with 2 clubs coming together to make something totally new. The official birthday is January 25th, 1930. You had these 2 older clubs in the city, Club Atlético Paulistano and Associación Atlética das Palmeiras, and they basically decided to merge everything, their assets, their best players, and even their histories. And this is how their completely unique identity was created. Paulistano brought its red and white colors, plus their star players. Associación Atlética das Palmeiras brought its black and white colors, and this is key, a stadium to call home. You mix all that together, and boom, a new powerhouse was born. And you can literally see that origin story woven right into their iconic kits. The red, the white, and the black, the Tricolor, is a direct fusion of those 2 parent clubs. So it's not just a cool design, it's their DNA, right there in fabric form. It's a constant reminder of how they were made. And wow, it did not take long for this new club to start dominating. By the 1940s, they were led by superstars like Leonidas, the Black Diamond, and the team got this incredible nickname, the Steamroller. I mean, they were just an unstoppable force, flattening the competition and grabbing 5 state titles in that decade alone. But after a decade of just steamrolling everyone, the club made a really interesting choice. They decided to sacrifice all that short-term glory for a dream that would literally define their future forever. And then all of a sudden, the trophies just stopped. For 13 long years, the Steamroller was completely silent. The club that had been an absolute winning machine went through the longest title drought in its entire history. So what happened? You have to wonder, right? Was it some kind of collapse? Did they lose all their good players? Nope. The real reason is so much more ambitious and, honestly, way more interesting. The reason for the drought? It was a calculated sacrifice. At a time when pretty much all other clubs were just renting stadiums, São Paulo poured every single penny they had into one massive goal, building their own stadium, the Estádio do MorumBIS. So instead of buying new star players, they chose to build a cathedral for their fans. They weren't just building a team, they were building a self-sustaining empire. And once that cathedral was built, oh man, the glory returned in a way that nobody could have possibly imagined. This ushered in the most legendary period in the club's history, the Tele era. Under their brilliant manager, Tele Santana, São Paulo didn't just win, they conquered. I mean, just look at this timeline. They won back-to-back Copa Libertadores, the championship of South America, and then flew to Tokyo and beat Johan Cruyff's Barcelona Dream Team, and then Fabio Capello's legendary AC Milan. They became the best team in the world, twice, in a row. About a decade later, the cycle just repeated itself. In 2005, they climbed that mountain for a 3rd time. After winning the Libertadores, they had to face a powerhouse Liverpool team in the FIFA Club World Cup final, and thanks to a heroic performance led by their legendary goal-scoring goalkeeper Rogério Ceni, they secured a 1-0 victory. The São Paulo was on top of the world once more. And that world title kicked off another era of just absolute domestic dominance. They did something historic that very few clubs ever manage, winning 3 consecutive Brazilian league titles from 2006 to 2008. This wasn't just winning anymore. This was a dynasty. It just cemented their place at the very top of Brazilian football. But as we've already seen, São Paulo's history is a cycle. And after reaching that incredible peak, the club would once again have to face a really challenging period. The 2010s felt, well, a little too similar to the 1960s. The trophies just dried up, and the club even found itself in these unthinkable relegation battles. For a club of this size, that's shocking. It was a really tough decade that seriously tested the faith of its supporters. But São Paulo's history teaches us one thing. A downturn is just the setup for a comeback. And the cycle turned once again. In 2021, they finally broke an 8-year drought by winning a state title. Then, in 2024, they beat their arch rivals to lift the Supercopa do Brasil. The message was loud and clear. The giant was waking up. This whole journey really speaks to another one of the club's core identities, O Clube da Fé, the club of faith. It just perfectly captures this incredible resilience, right? It's this shared belief between the fans and the club that no matter how long the drought is, glory is always just around the corner. Which leaves us with this final thought. São Paulo has been the steamroller, the world conqueror, and the fateful survivor. They've sacrificed for their dreams and they've reaped the rewards. So the question now is, how does a giant like this reinvent itself all over again? For a club that has truly won everything, maybe the only challenge left is to do it all one more time.